All right, today we're tackling a really deep question, one that a Nobel laureate named Robert Aumann helped us answer. It's this: why on earth do we cooperate when being selfish often seems like the smarter play?
I mean, think about it. If we're all just looking out for number one, shouldn't we be betraying each other all the time for a quick win? It seems like a simple question, right? But for economists, this was a massive, massive puzzle for a very long time.
Okay, so to really get why Aumann's work was such a big deal, we got to look at what he was up against. The old way of thinking saw economics as just a series of one-off encounters, or one-shot games. And the perfect, most famous example of this is, of course, the prisoner's dilemma. So let's put ourselves in prisoner A's shoes. Look at the options. If your partner, prisoner B, keeps quiet, well, you get a much better deal if you betray them. You walk free. But what if prisoner B betrays you? Well, you still get a better deal by betraying them too. 5 years is better than 10. See the problem? No matter what the other guy does, your best, most rational move is always, always to betray.
And that's the heart of the paradox. Both of them, just by acting logically and in their own self-interest, end up in a terrible spot. They both get 5 years, which is so much worse than the 1 year they would have gotten if they'd just worked together. So based on this model, cooperation looks, well, totally irrational.
But this is where Robert Aumann comes in. He looked at this paradox and didn't see a brick wall. Nope, he saw an open door, a totally new way to think about the whole problem.
And here he is, Robert Aumann. He won the Nobel Prize for doing exactly this, for taking on this big puzzle. And his genius was that he didn't throw out the idea of self-interest. Instead, he showed how that very same self-interest could actually be the engine for cooperation, if you just change the game a little bit.
And this right here is his core idea. Cooperation isn't some fluffy, irrational thing we do out of the goodness of our hearts. It can be the most cold-blooded, logical choice you can make. But, and this is the key, it only works under two specific conditions: repetition and shared knowledge. So let's unpack that first one, repetition. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Aumann's big point was, hey, real life is almost never a one-shot game like the prisoner's dilemma. We have to deal with the same people tomorrow and the day after that. And you know what? That changes everything.
The moment you know you're going to see someone again, your whole calculation shifts. Aumann called this the shadow of the future. Suddenly, that quick win you could get by cheating your business partner today, well, it doesn't look so good when you weigh it against losing all the money you could make with them for the next 10 years.
Now, there's a fancy name for this, the Folk theorem. It sounds intimidating, but the idea behind it is actually pretty straightforward. It just says that if we care enough about what happens tomorrow, if we're patient, in econ speak, then the fear of getting punished later makes it completely logical to cooperate right now.
Let's see how this plays out. Imagine a simple strategy, sometimes called tit for tat. I start by cooperating. If you cooperate back, great, I'll keep cooperating. But the moment you decide to defect and take advantage of me, next round I'm going to defect right back to punish you. Then, if you go back to cooperating, I will too. It creates this ongoing system of rewards and punishments. Just knowing that payback is coming is usually enough to keep things cooperative. It's not a single transaction anymore, it's a relationship.
Okay, so repetition is huge, but it's not the whole story. There's a second piece to Aumann's puzzle. It's a little trickier, maybe a bit more mind-bending, but it's absolutely crucial. It's the idea of common knowledge.
So, what is common knowledge? It's way more than just two people knowing the same thing. Think about driving. It's not enough for me to know which side of the road to drive on. I need to know that you know which side to drive on. And I also need to know that you know that I know, and so on, forever. It's this deep, almost infinite loop of awareness that lets us all get in our cars and not immediately crash into each other. It's the foundation of coordination.
And here's where it gets really wild. Aumann proves something with a theorem that's kind of shocking. He showed that if two perfectly rational people have genuine common knowledge of each other's beliefs, they literally cannot agree to disagree. It's logically impossible. If they're still arguing, it just means something isn't truly common knowledge yet. That's how powerful this concept is for forcing people onto the same page. So you take repetition, you add common knowledge. What does it all add up to? Well, Aumann's work didn't just solve one little puzzle. It fundamentally changed the game. He helped rewire the entire operating system of modern economics.
See, the old way of thinking often saw people as passive price takers, just reacting to the market. But Aumann's ideas were a cornerstone of what we call Arc 3, strategy and interaction. This new way of thinking saw people as smart, strategic players who are constantly thinking about what everyone else is going to do next. Suddenly, economics wasn't just about abstract forces, it was about the complex dance of human interaction.
And this influence just spread like wildfire. The mathematical tools he built for studying these long-term games became absolutely essential in so many other areas. We're talking about everything from designing better business contracts to figuring out how financial markets behave, all the way to understanding what holds political alliances together.
And why does any of this matter to us today? Well, because this theory of repeated games is now the go-to tool for analyzing pretty much any long-term cooperation. It's how we make sense of why trade wars suddenly break out, how we can spot companies that might be secretly fixing prices, and even what it takes to get countries to sign and actually stick to things like climate change agreements.
So if you're going to take one thing away from all this, it's this. Robert Aumann basically gave us the math to prove something we all kind of feel in our gut, that the future changes everything. He showed us that long-term relationships aren't just a bunch of one-off interactions. They create a whole new strategic world. A world where cooperating isn't just nice, it's often the smartest, most rational thing you can do.
Which leaves us with a big question to chew on. When we look at the world today, with all its conflicts, its trade disputes, and its political gridlock, what's really going wrong? Is it that we're just too impatient, too focused on the quick win? Or is the real problem a failure of common knowledge? That we don't really have a shared understanding of the game we're all stuck playing together?